Hello everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday video for Fat 50 and running a marathon. I'm Topher. I started this channel because 3 years ago I suffered a heart attack. And after a 1-year checkup with my cardiologist, I sort of resolved that I was going to run a marathon at the age of 50. So this is my channel dedicated to my journey reaching a 50-year-old who's able to run a marathon's body. Well, let me tell you about my week. First off, I managed to gain a pound somehow over the course of this week. My wife Nancy, who I love dearly, but who does little exercise above and beyond the 3 times a week yoga, and eats, actually I'd say even more sugar than I do, somehow managed to lose 2 pounds in the same amount of time. And men are supposed to lose weight faster than women, but what can I say? What I can say is I'm 1 pound heavier than I was last week after all this work. And I suppose it's a good thing that I don't use the scale really as the measure of my progress. I use how I feel in my clothes and how my clothes fit upon me. And this shirt is definitely starting to get big on me. And when I first got it, it was actually a good fit. So I'm seeing progress in ways like that, but it's not showing up on the scale. I want to let you know that I have 2 more days of stretch and 1 more day of strength exercises as part of Jeff Cavaliere's 22-day program for better posture through Athlean X. And I will have the retest video. Well, the retest video should be actually filmed on Valentine's Day. If I managed to keep up with everything, and I've been, as I've established before, I missed a couple of days, and now it's turned into a 24-day program instead of 22. But if all goes well, on Valentine's Day I'll be recording my retest video, and we'll see how that matches up with the original video, and we'll try to put that together. And hopefully the day after, so the 15th, I'm going to give Nancy a little bit of time in order to put that together, but we should be able to show what sort of progress I've made. Honestly, I can already tell that I have better posture. Whether I'm going to how well I'm going to perform at these new tests, I don't know, but I can definitely say I'm going to have better posture. And one more thing before we get into the meat and bones of this video. I want to talk about my intermittent fasting and my celery juice on an empty stomach. I've been holding true to both of them, eating only within the window of noon to 8 o'clock on every day except Sunday. And I've been drinking my celery juice pretty much every single morning. Now, what I want to get into, and I'm not going to get too graphic about it, is that I've been experiencing some extraordinary bowel movements in the mornings. I mean, just the kind that rip something out of you. I feel afterwards like a part of me is gone. And I don't want to get I'm not going to get too gory about it, but they've been atrocious. And I really truly believe that what is happening is that over the course of the time of fasting and then introducing that celery juice to my body, that I'm actually flooding out a lot of the toxins. You see, I've got a lot of years, many years, decades even, of bad eating and bad living to undo. And I think that these fat folds hold some really dangerous and toxic stuff. And I gotta highly recommend, if you feel like you've got toxins in your system, like I do, if you've got a lot of bad living to undo, I'm gonna highly recommend to you again celery juice on an empty stomach, and if possible, the intermittent fasting, however you choose to do it. Well, I told you we'd talk about sleep, and I did do some research, and it's kind of interesting how wildly differing some of the research can be, and yet there's some things that are definitely congruent throughout all of it. To start off with, the longest that anyone has ever gone without sleep being recorded was 264 hours, and that was performed by a 17-year-old fellow named Randy Gardner back in December of '63 and January of '64. Somehow he managed to spend his New Year's Eve actually just staying awake during that time. But 264 hours equates to just a little over 11 days. That's the longest anyone has gone without that. There is a family that was discovered by the University of California, San Francisco, who are able to sleep no who are able to get by with 4 hours of sleep. And when I say get by, this family is able to perform physical and cognitive functions as though they had had a full night of sleep on nothing more than 4 hours of sleep. Turns out that they have a mutation in a gene called DEC2. And in 2009, as I said, this mutation was discovered, this family was discovered to have this mutation. And I often wonder if, or I do wonder, if perhaps the Iron Lady herself, Margaret Thatcher, didn't have this mutation. She was known for getting by on 4 hours of sleep. Conversely, Mariah Carey claims that she needs a full 15 hours of sleep in order to have a productive day. So there's varying degrees, and one of the things that everybody seems to agree upon is that you need between 7 and 8 hours of sleep regardless of your age. There are many, of course I did a lot of research among some of the credible sources, and one of the things that I discovered about melatonin, which is what, if you recall from the last sleep video, or the mention of sleep video that I was using, well, according to the Mayo Clinic, melatonin is generally safe. However, it can affect the heart, it can affect your blood pressure, particularly if you're taking blood pressure medications. Well, even prior to the heart attack, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure and was taking high blood pressure medications. So that just goes to show you what happens when you don't do your proper research before taking an over-the-counter supplement. So please, learn from that mistake. It was stupid on my part to not do that sort of research prior to taking melatonin, and if you are out there and you are not paying attention to whatever over-the-counter supplements you take, just do a little bit of research. I mean, a little bit. Type it into Google. That's all I had to do. And that was the findings that I discovered from the Mayo Clinic. Now, Harvard Medical, in a summation, basically said that there are short-term and long-term effects of not getting enough sleep. Short-term effects were irritability, inability to learn and retain what you have learned, and a frequency of more accidents and injuries. Long-term effects of not sleeping are obesity and cardiovascular diseases and diabetes, for which I am definitely a candidate, being obese and having a grandmother who had diabetes. So naturally, I've been trying to figure out exactly what to do in order to combat this problem I'm having of sleeping through the night. See, I almost never have a problem falling asleep. For me, it's a matter of staying asleep. And that's what I was using the melatonin for. And what melatonin was basically doing was giving me a really good 2-hour power nap, and then I was waking up and I was feeling completely awake. Now, one of the things that I have read as a means to combat this sort of thing is to just go ahead and get up and force the brain and body to start the day, allowing no time for going back to sleep, taking any kind of nap. You just demand that the brain and body do exactly what they've basically asked of you when that forces you to wake up. So I've been trying to apply that, and of course, as we all know, there's a difference between knowing something and being able to apply something. Now, I did go to Johns Hopkins website, and I discovered that there were some things that they suggested there were actually 5 things they suggested for being able to fall asleep. What's funny is that most of them actually have a converse effect to that. So one of them was melatonin. And yes, as I've established, if you're like me and you're taking blood pressure medications, it's probably not something that you want to take, even though it is considered generally safe. Another one was exercise in order to help you fall asleep. The problem is that exercise gets endorphins moving, also increases your core temperature, and while so doing, can make it difficult to fall asleep. So if you don't exhaust yourself with your exercise, you basically just rejuvenated yourself. Another thing that it suggested was drinking warm milk or sour cherry juice. Well, the warm milk and the sour cherry juice, if you drink it too late, can cause you to have to go to the bathroom, and I've read that it can take at least an hour to fall back to sleep after using the bathroom in the middle of the night. So if you've drank fluids too late at night, you end up going to the bathroom. Another one was to keep the room as cool as possible, and that's something I agree with completely. Nancy and I kind of go back and forth on this. I personally like it when the room is cold enough to hang meat. But they do suggest keeping your room between 69 and 72 degrees if you're having trouble sleeping. The last thing that they suggested was dealing with the lights in your room. If you have a lot of lights in your room, if you have a lot of electronic devices with small lights on them, the more of those you can unplug, the better. And it even suggested keeping a flashlight next to your bed in order to get up and go to the bathroom so that you're not turning on lights along the way and then waking up your brain. So these are the effects. I'm still sort of dealing with it. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to make it through the night without waking up. But there you have it. So that's the meat and bones of this week's discussion on sleep. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to discuss next week, but I will, we'll just see when we get there. I'll keep you updated on how things are going with the posture program. Today marked, I've still got 2 more stretch days and 1 strength day, and then, as I said, the retest day will happen on Valentine's Day. So let's plan on the 15th being the day in which I post the video showing you how much progress I made over the course of the program. Well, I thank you for checking in, and I hope you're doing well. And remember, only by taking care of ourselves first are we capable of taking care of others. Signing off, Topher.